Today I'm going to prepare a stuffed pork tenderloin. Actually it's going to be two, but for the sake of time I'm going to do one. I'll show you the one that I'll prepare, get it ready and all that stuff for the oven. So again, today I'm going to be making some stuffing first, because I'm going to do some stuffed pork tenderloin, and I'll need for that mild Italian sausage, Johnsonville. Don't have to be Johnsonville, whatever you desire. I've got some butter, I've got an onion here, I've got a couple of ribs of celery, and I've got some stuffing mixed that is cornbread. Oops, I got some stuffing mixed that is cornbread. Sorry about that, guys. I've got some stuffing mix as well that is regular bread. Okay, I've already peeled the onion, for the sake of time, if you will. I've peeled the onion, and I'm going to cut the onion in half now. Okay, just cut the onion in half, got two pieces here. Mother Nature has already prepared that onion for you to slice and dice it. Okay, the onion ribs run this way, right, or as it forms itself. Okay, it's layers and layers. So there's really no need to go like this and then go like this. It's already, you've already got that particular cut. So I'm just going to not do this, and I'm just going to come like this, and I want to dice this up because I'm going to make my stuffing. And I'm making about a ½ inch in each one of these. I think I'll use that onion. That's about a medium onion. Okay, all right. And I'm ready to go with my dice. And all I got to do then is go like this. Now, once I went down there with the knife, all I did was put my finger here to hold that onion, pull the knife out. Again, that's why I just take my finger, go like that, and I can do. You just do that, and you get your dice. And this dice, just like I wanted. I could have made it even finer. I could have made it really, really fine, almost like a minced onion, if you would, please. Okay? For that stuffing, because that butter's going to go in there, and I'll put this here. And there's no real trick to this. I'm just going to cut the bottom off because I don't want the bottom of it. I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to come over here and I'll do this. All right? And again, and I'm going to do this, and I think that's all the celery I'm going to put in there. So as you can see, I used about a 1 3/4 ribs of celery. So I'm just going to dice these up, and all right, and that's going to go in my pan for my stuffing. My herbs cut up here, my onions and celery cut up here, and that's what's going to go in my pan. That's about medium-high heat. And this, again, is Italian, mild or sweet Italian sausage ground. And what I'm going to use here is a whisk. I'll use this flimsy one because it's flimsier. And then I start to do this to break it up. And I'm sort of, as you can see, twisting it at the same time. But it really does a nice job. I'm not pressing down too hard. I'm just breaking the meat up, okay? Just breaking it up like that. And I'm going to do this here until, and you can see it's just really getting broken up there. And that's what I want as I introduce this to my stuffing. And you want this meat to get done. You don't want it pink and kind of almost done. You want this meat to get absolutely done. And again, just about when it's 3/4 done, I'll add my onions and celery. That down a little bit because this is starting to cook real fast. All right, so here's my onions and celery still that I chopped up earlier. And I'll just add those in there. Still going to use my handy-dandy little whisk here. And the little bit of fat that's in that meat is actually going to do what it needs to do with these onions and that celery. And the reason I'm not going to cook it any more than getting those onions and celery to just start to get soft, or onions to start to sweat, they're going to cook a bit more when you put it, when you start to stuffed pork tenderloin, and when you put the stuffed pork tenderloin in the oven, those onions and celery is going to cook some more anyway. Okay, so this is looking good. And in the meantime, you don't have to worry about overcooking the meat. You want that meat to get done, so don't worry about what if the meat gets done before the onions. Nope, don't worry about it. You want that meat to be done. I'm not going to stuff those pork tenderloins yet. You don't want to stuff the pork tenderloins with hot stuffing. Cooking pretty good there. And I'm going to take my stuffing mix, and again, I'll probably use about half of each one of those bags. I might even use the whole thing because I want stuffing left over, I can use it for other dishes, as you know. And so that's looking good, guys. It's looking good, smelling good too. This is all done, all ready to go here. If you can see, if you can see that, I think. That's smelling good. I had my stovetop stuffing mix. This consistency is about the same as it's all like crumbs. It's like the cornbread stuffing as well. But this is regular bread stuffing here. Then I'm going to mix the two, is what I'm trying to say, I guess, here. So I'm going to use, I might use the whole can, but let's start with 3/4 of this can. All right, 3/4 of that can. But I don't want a whole lot. I'm going to stuff 2 pork tenderloins. And then this is the cornbread stuffing. Let's do, say, like half and half, okay? For now. And that's half of this bag as well. And then I might wind up using the whole thing here at the end of the day, at the end of the process here, okay? So, I've got my 2 kinds of stuffing in here. I'm now going to introduce this mixture to this. And I won't get by that burner because it's still really hot. So now we've got what I need in terms of what I'm going to mix this stuffing with here, okay? So I'm going to just start blending all of this together, as I have to do in order to get it in here. And I'm being careful to watch my ingredient, not just ingredients, but the ratio, I should say, of my sausage and my other ingredients to my bread mix, okay? And I can see right now that I'm probably going to put maybe the rest of that in here. All right, because once I add my chicken stock and get this to the right mixture of moistness, that's a new word I just made up, then I'll be good to go. And this is just this is even about a fourth. I've got another container here, but so this is about a fourth of this chicken stock here that I'm going to use for my moisture. Please don't use water because you want some flavorful stuffing. All right, and again, that was about 1/4 of a container, and I've got another one, full one here. And try very, very hard not to overdo it when you do the liquid, because if you don't have enough crumbs, if you put too much in it or to absorb that, you've got some soggy, wet stuffing. So I gradually add in my liquid, and as you do that, do it a little bit at a time, because what's going to happen here as you pour it in there, and I didn't measure the other one, so that's like maybe it's less than 1/2 a container thus far, but I do that so that liquid will, the breadcrumbs will absorb that liquid as I pour it in there. But I'm not going to pour it all in there at once. I'm just going to let it do its own thing. And yes, every now and then here a little bit, I'll stir it, check the consistency again, check it again to see how wet it is, if you will. And I'm kind of using my spatula, kind of pressing on it too. Once it starts kind of sticking together, you know it's got the kind of moisture content that you want. And again, I'm thinking, because this looks so good and it's so meaty looking, I'm going to put some more of that bread in there and some more liquid, just so I can have some left over, and I will have some left over for others, and use it as a side dish for other dishes I'm going to be making as well. I'm just going to let it rest for a little bit. Again, let that bread absorb that moisture so I'll know where I am in terms of the moisture content and how I want it. And I'm doing this because I usually take it like this, and if it sticks together, that's fine. And you see how it's sticking together? Sticking together meaning it's not falling apart or it's not too dry. That's going to be right consistency. And anyway, here's that finished stuffing that we talked about a little bit ago. It's all in my little handy dandy dish here, and I hope you can see that because it really, really looks good. Okay? That's the stuffing that's go inside of these pork tenderloins. So I'm going to set that aside. And so just make sure you get pork tenderloins that doesn't have anything injected into them, and all you get is 100% pork tenderloin, right? All right, again, I got a little bit of silver skin here, and most of them have silver skin on it. I'm just going to take my little paring knife, take it right underneath there where I see that silver skin, and I'm just going to peel that off. Peel that off. I'm going to peel that off, and a little bit of silver skin and fat that's right there. And take it out. Don't worry about your meat. You're not going to lose too much of it. You're just trying to get that silver skin off of there. Again, I'll do it over here, leaving that little piece of fat on there, because that fat again will render off of there. And I'm going to do this one more time, but there you are. So anyway, there's that silver skin that I was going to cut off, that I did cut off. I'm going to now split this tenderloin Doesn't matter where it's lying, I'm gonna try to make it a little flat, so I'll have a flatter piece that I'm gonna cut. But I'm gonna try to cut, I'm not cutting all the way through, and if you can watch this, I got, the tip of my knife is right here, right there, as I'm cutting it. And I'm just trying to go right down the middle of it. And I can feel where that knife is inside of it, okay? I'm not going all the way through, and you'll see that in a second here. So what I did was, I kind of went like that, and I cut it so that I could open it up like that, all right? You might call it butterflying it, but that's what I did, all right? So I got two pieces here, not two pieces, I got two sides here that I'm gonna be working with to expand this thing. The reason I'm doing that is so that I can get my stuffing in the very center of it, all right? Using my mallet, and I'm using the flat side of the mallet. I could use either. Easy to get the side of it, okay? And I'm hitting it kind of hard because I want to flatten this out. I don't want to get it too flat because you want it to cook evenly. And I'm watching how I'm hitting it because I don't want to make it too thin, all right? Don't hit your fingers, which I've done before as well. All right, so I'm going to let that one be, and that's how that's going to look. And my stuffing again is going to go right down the center as I roll it. You can see how flat that is now, and I'm going to put those in my little dish here. I've already tied one of them, stuffed it actually as well. Here's stuffed pork tenderloin number one. Anyway, I tied it. Excuse me. I think that's called a butcher tie. I can't believe I remember how to do that, but it's relatively simple. And if that fails and you don't know how to do this configuration that I'm going to try to show you, just tie circles around and tie knots in them, and you'd have 1, 2, 3, if you will, 4, and just make little loops in them, tie them, and you got it tied. Took out what I think I'm going to need from that main dish. Being careful not to take this spoon and go like this out of the main dish. Putting the stuffing on here like I'm going to do now. It doesn't matter now because I'm going to just use this for this purpose here, right? But I took that out so that I wouldn't be touching the raw meat with that spoon, and then introducing that spoon back into that dish again. That's called cross-contamination. Anyway, I'm putting this in here very loosely. I don't want to pack it tight because it's going to expand as it cooks, right? So I'm just kind of loosely putting that stuffing in there, and that's about all I need. And I got it like this. I'm just going to roll it gingerly. Just going to roll it. You see I still got space right here as I'm coming over. Pull it back a little bit. I'm going to keep rolling. So you can see here. I'm going to keep rolling, and this is actually going to overlap this. And if it doesn't overlap it, or you see that it's not going to, just take your meat mallet and pound this edge out a little bit more, and that'll bring it out a little bit more for you. But I think we got enough space here. So I'm going to continue to roll as I do that, and the seam is going to be here. And as I do that, I'm going to leave the seam on the bottom. Excuse me, I got allergies. That's why I'm sniffing. A butcher's twine, or you can use any sort of string to tie these things, like I just tied that one. I just peeled off about a 5-foot section of this string. I'm going to take my string and I'll put enough underneath there to tie a square knot. It's just a regular knot you're going to tie. Tie it loosely because this thing is going to expand. And put a couple knots in it, all right? All right? Thusly. Now I'll take the string and I'm just going to make a loop in it like this. It's going to make a loop. I'll remember how to do this. Like this. And I'm going to loop it over like this. I'm going to pull it toward the center of it. And that's how I get that little one cord that goes like this. And I'm going to do the same thing with another loop, just like that, and I'll loop it over again. Might look complicated, but it really isn't. Do that again, snug it up a little bit, not too tight, because this is going to expand. I'm going to do it again, like this. I'm going to put this one on the end, because I don't want to go all the way back up here with it, because I'm at the end of the process now. I'm going to put this one back over here, like this. And snug it up, and I'm done. I'll tie a knot in it here. All right. You're pounding out these things, which is what I did earlier. Remember to make them flat. You've got raw meat here, and when you're pounding this thing out, you can't see it sometime, but little particles of meat, this meat is flying all over your counter or next to your other stuff that's on your table, all right, on your counter. And you don't want to, again, cross-contaminate those items by this meat as you're pounding this meat, and little flecks of it. Believe me, even if you can't see it, it's happening. So don't have your raw vegetables over here and anything else that you're going to be introducing bacteria to with this meat by doing that, all right? So now I'm going to take a little olive oil here. Please, guys, forgive me, I got an allergy, that's why I'm sniffing. Anyway, I'm going to take my olive oil here, and I'm going to put just a little oil in my dish here. And all I want to do with that little bit of oil, and that's probably about a tablespoon maybe, and I'm going to roll this over just to coat it with that oil. Notice this, the seam side was on this thing was down as well. Just going to roll it over. And I'll do the same thing with this one. Get a little oil on it. I'm going to put a little oil on the top of this one here, seeing just how I'm running out of space in that dish to roll it. Just a little bit. And I'm doing that because I'm going to put a little bit of salt on it, not a whole lot, on the outside of it here. And I'm going to sprinkle a little pepper on there. On each one of a little bit of salt. You don't need a whole lot. Like I said, that stuffing is well seasoned. So I'm just lightly seasoning the top of it, okay? I'm not going to roll it any more either. And I'm just going to do that. All right, just a little bit on the side here. Just a little. These are going to be fantastic. And I served them with a vegetable. I'll have some gravy that I'll have on here as well. I'm going to put a little paprika on there too. And that paprika is for color. Because as much as you want, but not too heavy because it'll get too dark and you don't want to do that. So yeah, I've got about 1/4 of a cup of water. And I'm going to just put that right down here just to give it a little moisture in the dish. This is going to go in the oven at 350 degrees. Again, 350 degrees. And we're going to let these go for about 45 minutes. We're going to start our gravy for that pork. And I've got 1/3 of a cup of oil here. This is regular, just vegetable oil, and I'm using the lid of that because it has measurements on it. So I'll just use that, and I'm going to make a roux here is what's going to happen here. And I've got 2/3 cup of flour right now, and I'll see when I do that how much of that oil is absorbed with this flour. I might have to put a bit more, and I'm shaking it in there pretty good. And I think that might be enough because I don't need that much gravy. So I actually used, no, I might wind up using the whole thing there, so. So that's my flour. So as I said, I'm making a roux here. And what I'm actually doing, I'll show it to you, and most of you know this. This roux is about 50-50 in terms of the mixture between the oil and the flour. I could have used butter, it would be the same measurement, 50-50. So you can kind of see the consistency of it here. So, and flour is a raw product. And that means that the flour has to be cooked. And so that's why when you make this roux, which I'm doing here, I'll turn my heat up just a little bit because I want to go ahead and brown. And I'm going to keep stirring that as it starts to brown. And I won't be getting it to the color that is a dark brown that you see most times in this roux process. I use kitchen bouquet in my gravy to get the desired color that I want, and I'll be showing you that in a little bit as well. Now I will be browning the flour, like I said, because flour, I'm cooking the flour is what I'm doing here, okay? So you don't just dump raw flour into some water, which is called a slurry, and mix it up and then pour it in your product. You got to cook that flour. And that's what I'm doing here. Early on, I told you guys about my little flimsy whip that I use, and I use that for this purpose as well because it's so flimsy and flexible, I should say. It gets all in the corners and stuff of these pans, so as to minimize the lump situation here too. You don't want lumpy gravy, and I'll show you that this gravy will not be lumpy. And again, I'm still cooking. Not starting to brown yet. You give it a little bit more heat, and as long as I'm stirring it, you have to continue to stir it, because otherwise you'll burn it. I'll be still doing nicely here. You see that? It's just now starting to get a little bit tan. And what I'm going to use for my liquid in this one is chicken stock. I could have used beef stock. Be careful when you're cooking your flour as well, because if you cook it too much, it won't thicken your gravy like you want it to thicken. And it's doing really well here. And I could actually start to add my liquid now. I'm going to start out with a cup of, about a cup and a half, I should say, of my liquid, which is chicken base. And we'll go from there with it. And I'll put some seasonings in there. And again, right now I'm going to start with my chicken base. And I'm starting out with a cup. And I'm going to vigorously stir while I'm doing that. Okay? You kind of hear it sizzling. It's getting thick as I pour this liquid in here. And I'm stirring continuously. That's what you want to do. And then I'm going to grab my handy dandy bucket here again. I'm adding more liquid because I know I'm going to need it. I've got another 3/4 of a cup. Pretty good here. So that's a cup, 1 3/4 cup so far of liquid. And the reason I continually stir and concentrating on that, because I don't want any lumps, and I won't have any. As long as you keep it moving until it sets the way you want it, and you start stirring and or adding more liquid to the consistency that you want it as well. I'm going to hold that up for you. Can you see that? And there's no lumps in that at all. And that's looking good. I'm making a little extra gravy tonight too, because I'm actually putting another 1/4 of a cup, and that's going to mean 2 cups then to that 2/3 cup of flour that I started out with, okay? This is going to give me 2 cups. I think I'm going to use the rest of this in there too. Got a little bit left, there's a little bit left. Let's see what that looks like. It's looking good. And right along about here is when I'll add my kitchen bouquet for color, and not too much. Just want it brown, like whatever brownness you want it. You just do it by your sight bar. There's no flavor at all in here. Beautiful. Beautiful. And I'm going to start adding my black pepper a little bit. Shake, 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 shake. Just a little bit of garlic flavor. If you can see that. Shake, shake, shake. A little bit, not much. Just a little bit of salt in there as well. A little bit. Be careful with it. And I'll be tasting that along the way too to ensure. I'll turn my gravy down here to about a medium, as I continue to strive for the consistency I'm looking for. It's a little bit thick here now, and I don't want it that thick. You can see that. I don't want it that thick, and that's good for me because I wanted to make extra gravy. So we got about 2 cups, and then maybe a 1/4, okay? And it's looking good, and I still might have to add a little bit more liquid because as it cooks, it gets a little bit thicker and thicker. And the exact measurements are obviously not here, but you can certainly achieve whatever you want with this. I'm going to take my onions that I chopped up earlier, or diced up, I should say, earlier. I'm going to add those to my gravy. And I'm going to stir that. Get that stirred. That's looking good. It's not quite ready yet because those onions are going to get nice and tender as it simmers, and that's what I'm going to have it do now. I'm going to put it on simmer, and I'm going to let that simmer. It's just about the right color, the color that I want, about the consistency that I want as well. So I'm going to let that go to simmer. Cover it as well, and when I cover it, this is going to sweat, and it will cause moisture to go down into your gravy. So if you make it too thin, then you've got a situation where now it's too runny and you didn't want it that thin. And again, it can just sit there and simmer, which is what it's going to do. And it'll sweat, and the water will go right back down into that, and it'll create a little bit more thinness. And if that doesn't work, you just adjust it with your base, okay? Our pork tenderloin is cooking, of course. And our gravy is doing very well. Just a baby pot over here is going to house my baby carrots. I'm gonna just leave them al dente. I got my heat on high, I'm just going to put about half of that bag in there maybe. Yeah, about half of the bag. Okay. I'm going to put just a little bit of salt in it. Not too much, a little bit. Just a tad of sugar in there. I'm going to cover that and bring it to a boil. And let those get just al dente. And that's probably going to take about maybe 10 minutes. Okay guys, the other item we're going to have with our dinner tonight are these potatoes. These potatoes are very, very good. They're 100% potatoes. These are called Yukon Golds, I guess. I've used them many times before. And it saves a whole lot of time, a lot of time. So I'm going to use these. You can microwave them or you can do them on top of the stove. I've adopted the doing it on top of the stove method. I don't know why, but I just do, because they turn out just as well in the microwave. So I'm going to take them out of here, put them in this saucepan here, and just continually stir them until they're nice and hot. And it doesn't take that long. So that's what I'm going to do with these. I'm not going to add any butter or cream or anything to them. I'm going to let them get really hot. And if I feel the need to add anything to them, butter or cream, I will do that. Okay, so they're just in there now, kind of hanging out by themselves, kind of hard, stiff, if you will. But I want them to be that way because, like I said, I don't want to make them too thin at all. So I just keep stirring those. And when you do, okay, guys, I just open the oven here to check my tenderloin, and it's about 145, 150 degrees at this point. 48, 48, 56, 62 on that end. These are going to be perfect. I'm going to take them out here now as I close the door, so I won't trip on it. But I'm shutting my oven off. We are ready to pull our pork out here. They look nice. One of the other things I've done here now too, I typically heat my plates as well, and I just put 2 plates on, whether you can see them, here they are. I just put 2 plates in the oven, and the residual heat from this oven as I cut it off, I'm going to heat those plates. I typically always do that too, so my plates can be hot when I serve food on them, okay? And again, these cook for 45 minutes, and they look scrumptious. So we're going to, I think they've set for about 5 minutes here. So we're going to take this one out. And they hold together pretty well. They hold together pretty good here. They do. Okay. Okay. So we're going to take that one. And we're going to cut the string that we put on earlier. We're going to cut that string off. They're not going to fall apart when I do that because they're nice and firm. And notice early on I said to you when I was tying these things, don't tie them too tight because they're going to expand. And see how that one puffed out? And which is what they do when they cook. And that looks good, does it not? Yes, it does. Please tell me yes, it does. So I'm going to slice this up. All right. This is beautiful. Let me hold up a slice for you. Show you what I mean when I say beautiful. Is that beautiful? Is that beautiful? Nice and moist. That's just beautiful, okay? And don't fret if your pork is pink. That's good. That's a good thing. It's not white, which means it overcooked. It's too dry. Okay, this is very, very tender. And I think that's about all we're going to put on that first plate. First plate, and these are those hot mashed potatoes I was telling you about. We can put some of those on there. Okay. I'm going to put a few carrots on there. A green vegetable would have been great as well, asparagus if you will. Or any vegetable that you want actually. So I'll show you that gravy. The gravy turned out really well. There's no lumps. What you see obviously are the onions in there, and it is really tasty. Put a little gravy on the mashed potatoes here. A little gravy there as well. Obviously some gravy here, and here. Coming together quite nicely, folks. And it would just not be right to serve this without applesauce. So applesauce is going to be the accompanying portion of it as well. It's just regular applesauce. You can get cinnamon applesauce or whatever applesauce you prefer. And put a little applesauce on the side there. Doesn't matter where it goes, I guess, and just put some applesauce in there. Anyway, that's what that plate looks like, and I'll put my glove on here because those plates are hot, and I'll hold it up so that not to make sure you can see that. Anyway, that's the finished product, and I think that's a beautiful plate. Well, if you like this dish, please let me know and hit that subscribe button. Please, if you will, share this video with others, and I'll see you after supper, which means perhaps the next video. Thank you so much for watching.